So today we're doing an interview with my mom, Nancy Davidson. She is the most successful in career, in life, in just being a mom. Don't cry, we just started recording. Just overall, you just always been so put together and so strong and just always been that pillar of strength for our family and somebody that I really truly honestly look up to. And, I just pray that I can even be half the woman that you are. So today we're going to do an interview all about you and your experiences in life, all your knowledge, everything that you've gathered over the years. So let's get into it.
You're
You
gonna make me cry.
you've climbed the corporate America ladder all the way up to the tippy top. You've built multi-billion dollar companies. You started your own life coaching and leadership mindset business, helped plenty of women and even men on their journey to success and balance and life and everything that comes with that. So I want to ask you just a few questions, actually, a lot of questions. Why do you think that so many successful women feel empty or restless even when they feel like they're doing everything right?
Great question. I think sometimes we get so used to, and I'm going to talk about my experience in women that I've coached. I think that we get so immersed in trying to do the right thing for a company. And I feel that we lose ourselves. And when you have an executive, when you're in an executive position and you're also married and have children and raising a family, you want to make sure that you're doing all the right things for the company you're working for and with and for your family. And sometimes we're on a go to go to go to go and we lose ourselves. And we don't think about ourselves because we're constantly thinking about doing the right thing for our family and for the.
What are some, in your experiences and with clients that you've worked with, what are some things like key telltale signs that they're being pushed out, forced out of where they're at to grow into something more?
They're feeling burnt out.
Just burnt out?
They're feeling burnt out all the way from when someone's constantly working so hard and they're putting their passion into something and they feel that it's not good enough, where they keep wanting to push and push and push. That's why I say the almighty dollar, that it doesn't matter what is going on and what you're doing as a leader to make sure you're protecting the company, you're protecting the culture, you're protecting the people, that it doesn't matter. When an owner of a company doesn't care for the culture, they only care for the almighty dollar, it tends to build up resentment and burned out and being burned out. So that would be one of the telltale signs, is
Feeling burnt out?
feeling burnt out. That's like the number one, feeling burnt out and feeling at a point you kind of feel empty. You feel like you're failing as a leader, right?
What if they're not in a leadership position? What if they're in like a mid-level position and they're just still feeling that like burnout, like they're doing everything they can, they're meeting all their marks, but they just feel like this unfulfillment even though they're doing everything right, they're
There's
successful, like
yeah,
on that, like on paper they look like they're super successful, but on the inside it's like I'm not fulfilled. Like what would you say to somebody who feels that way?
I would ask them, do you love what you do?
Mm-hmm.
Do you love what you're doing right now? It doesn't matter what position you're in, but do you feel passionate about what you're doing? Because a lot of people are in positions that either because the money's there, or they feel forced, or they don't want to
Right.
let someone down. And so they
Right.
do something that they're not passionate about, that their glass is not filled up. And I always tell my clients, if you don't like what you're doing right now, if you don't wake up in the morning and feel empowered and feel or excited to go and do what you're doing in your career, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur or going into work or what have you. But if you're not feeling excited about it, then that is a sign that you need to reevaluate and do your own self audit and determine what it is that you truly, truly are passionate about. What is it that you want to do?
So even if somebody's like really good at their job, they're still unfulfilled,
Yep.
you would say that they're out of alignment with what they're supposed to be doing or what they're meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
How would somebody, you said a self audit, so how would somebody do or perform a self audit for themselves? What are some like key questions that somebody can ask themselves to really determine, like, am I outgrowing this position? Do I need to do more in this position? Like, should they be growing within where they're at, or should they leave where they're at or start something new? Like, what are some self auditing questions?
First of all, you don't want to start with what you're currently doing at a company. You want to start with yourself first. What makes you happy? What puts a smile on your face? What what do you like to do? Do you like helping people? Do you like to be outdoors? Do you want to work at a desk? Do you like what is it that you want to truly do? Sometimes people don't know what it is,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm a big believer is you write down everything that you love. Start with yourself first. Write down everything that you absolutely love to do. What puts a smile on your face? What makes you happy? What gets you excited? Like, wow, this is awesome. Like, I'm really feeling it.
Right.
So do your self audit. That's one of the self audits that I'm talking about is look at yourself first. Sometimes we have to look in a mirror at ourselves. And a lot of times when I tell my clients, look at the mirror and look at yourself to determine what does the outside look like? Because if you're not fulfilled on the inside, people are going to see it on the outside. It's like when I tell my clients when they show up on our Zoom sessions, I can tell if you're having a good, bad, or ugly day. I can tell if your shoulders are down, you're not happy, there's no smile, you look quiet, and it looks like you want to say something, but you don't say it
Mm-hmm.
because you're feeling that it makes you look like you're failing and you're not good enough. That makes
Right.
sense?
Yeah. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about why do we as women, especially women who are in successful positions, whether you're a CEO or, like, I'll refer to like the mortgage industry, say you're like in operations or something, and on paper, like, you got the desk job, you're doing good, like on the outside, everyone looking at you, they're like, wow, she has it all together, she's got a good job, yada yada yada, like all this stuff. But on the inside, she's feeling all the things that we just talked about, like unfulfilled, unhappy, out of alignment, something's amiss, but they can't put their finger on it. And you talked about, when you talk to your client, they don't want to admit that. Like, these are deep, dark, never touch the surface feelings because, you know, as women, we don't want to admit that. Why is that? Why do you think that women who are successful or ambitious, why do we hold on to those feelings and we don't want to share that with somebody? Like, why do we do that?
Because we as women, we're like we're superwomen. Like we feel like we have to carry it all.
Mm-hmm.
Raising a family, raising kids, doing the right job, making the money, doing everything, the cooking, the cleaning, the everything. We feel that we have to carry it all. And it also depends on how you were raised,
Mm-hmm.
right? And a lot of things of what we do in our life is how we were raised, how we were brought up to think, where we're thinking about, you know, serving your husband, serving them with a plate of food, making sure dinner's on the table at 6 o'clock. That's how I was. That's how
Right.
your grandma was. It's like dinner had to be on the table at 6 o'clock. A salad had to be had. Grandpa had to have a salad first before you ate dinner.
Mm-hmm.
So as women feel that we have to carry so much, and you do it with a smile on your face, and you don't complain about it. But the part of what we don't want to do is what we need to do, excuse me, is go back. And when I tell my clients, what is it that has carried you to where you're at today and the way you feel with confidence or anything that's going on in your life? Think about where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing of self audit because it's so hard the way you were brought up to where you're at right now to let go of what it is that truly bothers you from when you were growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? So I think that us women are scared to fail,
Mm-hmm.
and we feel that we're on the spotlight because we're doing everything. And a lot of times we care about what other people think.
Right.
Right?
Totally. Yeah.
And if we're not positioned outside, not even inside, outside, then we don't want other people to say, oh, look at what Nancy looks like, or she's having a hard time, or no one likes her, or she doesn't live in a beautiful home, or she doesn't drive that car. Like, you feel it's like stereotype.
Mm-hmm.
And us women don't want to be that way.
Yeah.
And so I always say, it's like, be yourself. Figure out what it is that you truly, truly are passionate about. And don't ever settle. Like I always tell you,
Yeah.
don't ever settle. Meet your goals, but be grateful for everything that you have, because money and materialistic things is not the number one.
Right. Yeah, that was so well said. Gosh, you just said something right now, and then I wanted to like piggyback and ask another question off of that. Oh, so, talking about like we want to make sure that we look like we have it all together. And so we're afraid of admitting when we're unhappy, or we're afraid of admitting when we're unfulfilled, or we feel like we want more. We don't want people to think that we're ungrateful for the things that we have, even though we feel this deep yearning inside of this is all great, but I'm meant for more. Um, when we fail to like admit that to ourselves to keep up appearances, why is it so easy for us to care so much about what other people think and keeping up our appearances, and it's so hard for us to recognize when we're not keeping up with ourselves?
Because we are so focused on the status quo and not focusing on us ourselves. Like, we want to constantly, there's a couple of things: boundaries and people pleasing.
Right.
We want to make us women, and a lot of people want to people please.
Mm-hmm.
They want to make sure that they are pleasing you. They'd rather please you than to tell you that you don't like something about them or what they do, right? You just want to zip it up and say, you know what? I'll just, I've built up a callus, and I'm just going to please you and then move on, because that's the easiest way out. So then we stay comfortable, and then we're scared to get uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Right.
So we hold it in. And when we hold it in, it builds resentment, it builds unhappiness, and then you tend to say things that you don't mean.
Right. Yeah.
So
how would you get rid of that resentment? Like, how do you change that mindset from, I just need to people please and just suck it up and move on, compared to, I need to address the hard parts of this so that I can grow, so that I can feel happy and fulfilled? How would you change your mind from, let me just shut up and suck it up, to, no, I need to face the truth and
great
and
question.
grow?
I think that remember I was telling you I had to do a self-audit on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really big about a forgiveness letter. And sometimes we have to do a forgiveness letter of one person that has hurt you in all ways, shape, and form. And sometimes that person can be you. And so you put together and write it, not type it. You write a forgiveness letter to yourself of everything that hurts you, that makes you cry, that you worry about, you fear about, you feel like you're failing. Sometimes you have to write a letter to yourself. And when you do that, you're forgiving yourself of the way you feel, mm-hmm. and the way you hold things in. And when you do that, you get that forgiveness letter and you tear it up, and then you burn it, and then you go outside and you release it, and you forgive everything of the way you feel. You forgive the people that have hurt you, and you let it go, and let it go into the universe, and let God take over those fears and those worries. And I do a lot of forgiveness letters with my clients, and they absolutely feel completely released, and they feel they start all over. And sometimes you have to be two. I've had several clients that do it to just one. It could be an ex-husband, it could be an ex-boss, I've even done it for myself. Mm-hmm. But if it stems from you and you feel like, sometimes we look at ourselves and say, it's me, it's not them.
Right.
It's me. I'm the problem. But You have to release that it's not you. So all the problems that you feel like you're facing, you write a forgiveness letter to yourself.
Wow, that's really powerful. And we're not throwing out burnt pieces of paper into the street.
No, if they're ashes.
Or throw the ashes. How would you gather up the ashes? I've done like something similar to that where like you burn it, but I just kind of left it there because I was like, I don't want to gather that up. But
You know what you do is you like put it in like a, obviously you got to be safe doing it, but you know it could be in like a tin bucket or something. You burn it. It's like little ashes. You're not going to pick it up. You're just literally going to blow it or throw it up and blow it up in the air, but make sure it's cooled down. You don't
very,
want to,
yeah.
but
You want to start a fire. Yeah, that's really powerful because I feel like a lot of the time when we think about resentment or we think about forgiving somebody, we automatically think of other people. So it's very powerful to think of, acknowledging when we've let ourselves down or when we've built a resentment to ourselves, even if it's unknowing, because like you talked about earlier about boundaries and a lot of the times when we push our boundaries back, we're hurting ourselves doing that. And I don't think that that's something that really gets acknowledged because in our minds we're doing everything right and we're doing the right thing, but in reality you're hurting yourself. And I think that's very powerful to acknowledge when we've put ourselves on the back burner or when we've hurt ourselves in the process of or in the name of doing something right or helping other people, or that we put ourselves on the back burner. So it's very powerful that you said to forgive yourself and for all the things you've done to yourself, because that's so liberating and so freeing to be able to acknowledge that you know you have some sort of power in that scenario. It's not like you're under somebody else's thumb.
Right. But you do. You know how I always say it in my podcast is you have full control of the will. You have control of your life. The only thing we don't have control of is unexpected situations that we didn't even see coming. Right? But you have control of your happiness, the way you live, the things that you want. If you want to have everything, if you want to have the cars, the family, or the beautiful home, the nice clothes, the purses, whatever it is that you want. And even I'm not talking about just materialistic things, the right partner, the right people in your circle that are like minded like you. You have control over that. Because no
Right.
one else is going to one of the things is we tend to get validation for everybody, from everyone. Like if it's something that you feel like I have this great idea, but let me ask this person, that person, this person, and everyone's going to have a different idea but yourself. But what do you think that you're going to be focusing on? You're going to focus on the no, or the ones, the people that don't, are not like-minded. Like if you have this great idea and someone says,
Right.
oh no, I don't think that's good because of XYZ, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to squash it and then put it on the shelf and forget about it. Instead of going after your dreams and the things that you want to do in life. It could be the job. It could be a place you want to live. It doesn't matter. You have full control of your life. And I always tell you, lead the life that you want. Don't settle, right? And life is not perfect. You're not going to have that perfect partner. But the communication and the communication that you have in any friendship or relationship is key. Energy is another thing, right? We can feel like if you came walking, even though you're my daughter, but it doesn't matter who it is. Like if you came walking, I can feel if you're having a good, bad, or ugly day. I can feel that energy. If you're going to a grocery store and you walk into a grocery store and you walk by a man or a woman and you have this eye to eye contact, you could tell if they're sad or having a good, bad, or ugly day. And when you say good morning, good afternoon, or something to that person, that just made a big difference in their life at that point in time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is you have full control of the life that you want to live. Don't ever settle. Don't ever let someone tell you what you're supposed to do. When you feel an alignment in body and feel a different way, don't shut that down, because one, that is God telling you what you're supposed to be doing, right? That's faith telling you what you're supposed to be doing. And that your own intuition is faith talking.
Yeah. I like that. Like that's like the, you know, for me I would interpret that as like the Holy Spirit,
Mm-hmm.
talking to you and, planting that seed in you of this is your next step, or this is, you're phasing out of this assignment in your life, but I want to go back to you were talking about finding like-minded people, and how we have an idea or we have something that we want to share with everybody, and we go and we share it with everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
not everybody has that like-mindedness. And so a lot of the times you said, you would just squash that idea. If everyone shut it down, you would squash that idea. And maybe they're saying no because of jealousy. They don't want you to do better than them. Maybe they're saying no because they don't see your vision. Maybe they're saying no because um, they're not on that same
Yeah.
growth mindset as you. And not necessarily that they're saying no. It could be from good intentions, bad
Right.
intentions. It could be that you guys just aren't on the same level. And then on the flip side of that, somebody that's constantly co-signing your bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like somebody that's saying,
Well
yeah,
said.
yeah, do it, do it.
Mm-hmm.
And really, nothing good is going to come of you actually doing it. So, what would you do instead of that? Like, instead of sharing everything with everybody, how would you decide, okay, these are like, would you have like a top three people that you would run something by? I know you believe in, prayer and talking to God and praying about it, but you also have some people that you run things by. How would you, one, break that cycle of sharing everything with everybody? And number two, one, two, number two, how would you identify those people that you can trust, those people that are on the same level as you, somebody that you can really truly trust to give you sound advice? How would you pick those people in your life?
Well, I can right now. I can talk about for me, and I think this would be pretty much for most people out there. I'm always going to go to the first person. If I have an idea, I'm going to go to my husband. I'm going to go to your dad, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sit down and talk about, for instance, my coaching business. When I was in corporate America, I was coaching on the side, and I was very passionate about doing it. So when I went to dad and I said, I want to coach, and he goes, well, you can't walk away from a corporate job right now. Like, how are we going to, financially be where we need to be?
Right.
And I said, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on it, see if I like it first, right? And I'm going to go ahead and, you know, talk to him about it and say, okay. He's like, okay, try it, see if you like it, do whatever it is that you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're ready and you feel like you need to walk away, let's talk about that first. But then I would go to your Auntie G, you know, I'd go to my sister, and then I'd go to my best friend, right? So, but with that, if you're not married, if you don't have a significant other, you have a best friend, or maybe you don't have a best friend, you have someone that you can trust, like you feel like you're on the same wavelength.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it, because sometimes I know for most people, I know for me, if I want, not that I want to get validation, I want to talk to somebody that I trust and I love with the idea that I have, and then listen to what they have to say. And then sometimes those are good. Sometimes we don't see what we should see ahead in our vision until we
Mm-hmm.
talk to somebody that maybe I need to see what their vision is. What does that look like? And then you get those ideas and then you sit with it, and I pray about it. And then sometimes I write about it and I journal about it. And I go with what my own intuition is telling me. That own intuition is excitement, like butterflies. You
Mm-hmm.
feel happy. You don't even feel fearful. And that is a sign of saying, this is right. This is for you. And worst case scenario, you try it and then you don't like it. Who cares? You go on to the next thing. Doesn't mean that if you go into it and you don't like it or what have you, it doesn't mean that you failed against it or you failed it.
Mm-hmm.
You're just going to go on and doing something that you like. And that's one thing that you want to say is, if something is very passionate about what you want to do, you don't go into it fearing that you're going to fail. Because if you go into that fearing that you're going to fail on something that is that you want to do, guess what's going to happen? You're going to fail, because that is what you're constantly thinking.
Right.
And that's the mindset, right?
Right.
The mindset controls everything. So if that's what you're going to tell you, then that's what's going to hear.
Okay, so you said a lot in your response there. So I want to touch on a couple of things. So going back to, like you said, that you run things by somebody that you love and that you trust. I know that there's a lot of people that I've at least known that they love and they trust somebody, but love and trust doesn't always mean that they're going to give you good advice. So, you have a husband, you have a sister, you have a best friend. What would you say to somebody who doesn't have any of those things? Say they're not married, say they don't have a best friend, or they don't have a sister that they run things by. How would somebody go about identifying the person that they can trust? Like, what are things that they need to look for in somebody before they go and run by these ideas by, or these, how would somebody identify like the top, maybe even two people in their lives that would, actually help them make a sound decision? How would you identify that?
Someone, first and foremost, is going to be someone that is like-minded, like you, and that you have the same type of goals.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Doesn't mean it has to be the exact same type of goals, but you're not going to go to somebody that doesn't come out of their comfort zone, that's just settling, and going to somebody that hates their own life. That's not someone that you're going to go to.
Okay.
Right? You're going to go to, and don't look for a laundry list of things. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you're going to know who you can trust.
Okay. Right? So like-minded, so somebody that's like-minded on the same level of ambition as you are, and somebody that's level-headed. Okay, those are good key indicators of who to trust when you're talking to, because I know a lot of the times we get confused on, like, okay, I love this person, I've known this person so long, let me run it by them. And in reality, they're not going to be the best person to get advice from. You can love somebody all you want, doesn't mean that they're not a good person to have in your life. It just means you're not going to go to them for advice. So you would choose somebody that either has something that you want or is on the road to getting what they want. Okay, so that's good. And then you had said something else about the mindset. For somebody that wants to grow, or they have this idea or this goal that they want to accomplish, and they're feeling that excitement, how would you decipher between this is just something that I'm excited about and this would be cool, compared to this is the gut feeling that I have, that this is what I'm drawn to do, this is what I'm meant to do? How would you decipher between, oh, this just looks like something fun and exciting, versus this is what my soul and my spirit and God or whoever is calling me to do this with my life?
You just answered your own question. There's two things. The one that's in ambition and excited and aligned here, your heart, soul, your gut, if you're feeling that excitement and that butterfly, that's your answer. But if you feel something, oh, that looks really cool, like that looks really cool to go zip lining, that type of feeling, then it's like, okay, I did that and that's it. But if it's something that it's really grounded of what it is that you truly want to do, a career, starting your own business, or whatever it is, a specific job, that is where you're going to feel it. So you definitely answered that question. Make sense? Yeah,
that makes sense. Makes total sense. I know we were talking about resentment earlier. What does resentment look like or feel like when it's disguised as like responsibility or stability? Like, we all just push past things and we just go, like, what would resentment look like or feel like?
So when you're feeling, you start to build the resentment when you hold everything in and you don't communicate. When you don't communicate and you hold it in, and you don't do something about what's not making you happy, it builds resentment. And then you stop the communication, and you hold it into yourself. And then you start looking at yourself that you're the one is the problem. You're the one failing. You're the one.
That's so crazy. Why do we do that? Why don't we just paint a pretty picture over what everyone else is doing, and we just turn it back on ourselves? Like, we're the problem. Like, why do we do that?
because it's always that self-reflection of us. And it all depends on the individual, because you don't want to deal with argument. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to deal with hurting someone else. And then you just hold it all in.
Have you ever had a time in your life when you experienced that?
Where I had resentment.
Yeah, where you just said, I'm just going to suck it up and move on, and you built that resentment, that callous that you were talking about. Have you ever experienced that in your life? And if so, like, how did you get past that?
I think
Whether it's at work or at home, or
there's a couple of things. It's a very good question.
you don't have to give names.
No.
We'll keep that private.
No, so it's a very good question. So, in corporate America, building companies, and we kind of talked about this at the beginning, is, as you know, your mom, I put my whole heart and passion.
You put your foot in it.
I do.
You put your foot in it.
I work
sure.
so hard. I don't even put my foot. I put my whole freaking body into it.
Mm-hmm.
As I work so hard and I'm so passionate about something, because I am a strong woman that knows what she wants, that goes for what she wants, and I get what I want.
Amen.
And I do, and I feel, thank you. But when I work so hard with another person,
Mm-hmm.
say corporate America, with a CEO,
Mm-hmm.
and you made them billions of dollars, and then someone comes in and says, well, I can even make you more money. And then that intuition, that that's bullshit, that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And then that person says, just please, it's going to work. And then that person comes in and crumbles the whole company.
Mm-hmm.
And I walk away at that point, because now that person came in between. That was resentment. That right there is like someone putting a knife in my heart, because I worked so hard, and you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And that one was really hard for me to get over. It happened to me a couple of times at corporate America, but
how did you deal with that?
There's one thing I always look at it is, I'm not going to hate you. It's going to hurt me. It's going to crush me. I'm going to feel like I fell on my ass and get back up. But I look at it as, this is my life,
mm-hmm.
and I'm not going to let someone that hurt me control my future, control my life, and the things that I want. That will never, ever, ever happen. And that is why I always tell people, whatever you go through in life, if there's a person that hurt you, a bad divorce, life still goes on.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a death. I lost grandma when I was 17 before I graduated. We went through a lot. And to me, I look at it as, I'm still living, and I'm this human being that knows what she wants. Life is short, and I'm going to go get it.
Yeah.
So no one's going to come in my way. I even have an older brother that I don't talk to.
Yeah.
And has hurt me and hurt our family. But life still goes on. I have a beautiful family. I have beautiful children. I have grandchildren. I have this beautiful coaching business. And I, love what I do. And I'm helping another friend with a business.
That's awesome.
And to me, that's what fills my glass up. And don't get me wrong, I go through those times where I feel like I'm going off track. And sometimes I have to look at myself in the mirror and say, like, what am I doing? But I never, ever, ever, if there's a challenge, I know that challenge is only temporary. And that is the mindset. So if I'm going to focus on all the bad and feel I have this black cloud over my head and this person hurt me and you're pointing fingers and you're blaming other people, you need to look at yourself first.
Right.
Because if you're allowing them to control your life, then that is on you, not them.
True.
Right?
True. Yeah, I know you've always you've never had like that victim mentality, that what was me mentality. But at the same time, like just because you don't have that what was me victim mentality doesn't mean that you're not hurting.
Right.
So how do you navigate that hurt and that pain? Like whether it's like you said in corporate America where somebody just completely disregards you and disregards all your hard work, whether it was, that was the intention or not, for more materialistic things, how do you navigate that hurt, whether it's a loss of a job, a loss of a family member, a loss of love, a lot, like any type of loss or hardship that somebody experiences, how do you navigate that pain?
That's a great question. And I think that because I look at all the beauty that I had of that, like it wasn't bad. It was, I learned from something that crumbled, that it was a challenge. I learned from that challenge. I
Mm-hmm.
learned from that experience. I learned from it being with a partner, be it in a corporate America partner, someone that has passed. You shared fun times and beautiful moments, and you learned from that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
You don't just say, oh my gosh, it was completely terrible this whole entire time. No. And so that is what keeps me going. That's what makes me feel accomplished, right? And so you move on. Like when I lost grandma at 17, I'm thinking, she wasn't there when I got married. She wasn't there to have my beautiful children. She wasn't there where I was going through some challenges,
Mm-hmm.
but I experienced the beautiful moments when she was here on earth.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going. Christmas time, all the things that I do, right? Make my house look warm, bringing people into our
It's
home,
like a living memory.
baking,
It's keeping her
cooking,
memory
all
alive.
yeah. And I
Yeah,
keep that going. And that is what puts a smile on my face and keeps me going.
I love that.
You know?
I love that. Yeah, hmm, that's a great way to look at things that you just see. And I know some people have a hard time doing this, especially with the way that maybe some people have heard it framed, like just stay positive,
It's not all
like
about that.
it's not about that. Like the way that you said it, it's not just like just be positive, it's all going to work out. It's like you, like you said, like you are going through something hard, but there was something beautiful in that at one point in time, and something beautiful will come of the hardship.
That's
So
right.
you're of that mindset of you're going through something hard, but it's going to birth something new. Like maybe there's a death of your career, a death of a family member, like a literal death or a figurative
But you
death.
learn from that,
Yeah,
though, right?
but you're learning from it, and something is always going to grow from that. Something good is always going to come from that.
And that's one thing that I, as your mom, as you know, I do is I educate myself.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is. It's a self-development. I'll read a book. I'll read books that resonate with me. I'll listen to podcasts that resonate with me. And I'm going to learn from it. And what I learn from it, I bring on to my clients. I bring on to my family, my children, my grandchildren. But I'm constantly having to do that self-development for myself. And that is what I suggest anybody to do. But only do the things that resonate with you, right?
Right.
So that you're aligned with, right? Like
Right.
I can't go and get a fiction, thriller, death type of book to read because I'm not aligned with
Well,
that. It's more my
even if it
self-development.
was like a non-fictional book and it was
Yeah.
a self-help book, the
If it
the
resonates with
the way,
you,
yeah, but some people don't always resonate with the same thing. So like some, maybe everyone recommends this certain book by this certain self-help person,
yeah,
but you don't like the vibe, you don't like the
right,
delivery on it, you don't
right.
really agree with it,
Then
then
you're not aligned
you
with
don't have
it.
to take it. Just move on and find what works for you.
Correct.
I think that's really important because I feel like there's just so much in this world right now where everyone's like, it's like when you open up social media, it's like this is gonna work, that's gonna work. You need to do this. You need to do 5-step morning routine. You need to go on a 10K walk every day. You need to do this. You need to do that. And you need to like
Who
do
says?
all these things.
Who
Like,
says?
there's just so much information to take in. You just really have to be honest with yourself, like you said, and just figure out, okay, does this feel good when I do this, or am I just doing this because somebody said you should do that?
And I'm glad you brought that up because there's one thing that we tend to do in social media is we grab and gravitate to all the shiny objects out there.
Right.
And then you feel like I do a morning routine. Some people don't believe in morning routines, some people do. But it's a routine that resonates with me that is simple. Do things simple, don't
Mm-hmm.
do things complicated. Don't feel that you have to journal, do affirmations, do this, do that. You have to do 10 things and feel accomplished. Do what that aligns with you. I don't care if it's one thing, two things, whatever it is. Do it
Yeah.
what resonates with you. Because there is what everyone says doesn't mean that it aligns with you. And if it doesn't align with you, that it doesn't work for you.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many beautiful things out there that you can use to help you, but just do what works for you and do it simple and easy. Because if you try to do it complicated, you're not going to continue with it.
And then you feel like you're a failure because they're like, well, I didn't do what so and so on social media said. Like, she
Yeah.
has all the things that I want. She does a 20-step morning routine and she does all
Yeah.
these things. And, like, great, that works for her, but that's not always going to work for you. And I feel like that's so important that you brought notice to that and you mentioned that because I feel like oftentimes when we're on the search to like grow and do better, that we often associate do better with do more. And it's not always the case, right? It's just refining what we're already doing or maybe adding a little bit more, but not like you just do this whole laundry list of things and out of it's going to sprout all this success and fulfillment that you wanted. It's like you said, like just refining and finding what works for you and then doing those
And
things.
mastering it.
That's so
Yeah.
important because I feel like, I mean, I'm on TikTok and social media all day long and I'm just like, well, that looks good. I like what she's doing. And then I do it and I'm like, I feel exhausted doing it. I'm like, I can't do this. This isn't me. Like, I can't sit there and do a 10-step skincare routine and just wash my face and like move on, and it's so important to like give yourself that grace
Yes.
of okay, I'm not doing all of these things that this successful or seemingly successful person does, and you're not a failure because you're not doing exactly what they do.
There's one thing when you look and do your own self audit of your own life is keep things simple, but don't be so complacent that you feel so comfortable. You've got to do things that make you feel uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what pushes you. That's what challenges you, right? So, social media it will tend to, don't feel like everyone else. And I tell my clients this, when you're on social media, it looks like everyone's having a perfect life.
I hate it. I'm like,
right?
like, come on, really?
What goes on behind closed doors. And they may have a beautiful, successful life. That's great. But it doesn't mean you have to follow their footsteps.
Yeah,
follow your own footsteps.
I'm so sick of the highlights of everybody's freaking social media. It's just like everything is highlights, highlights, highlights. Lamborghini, big house, vacations, like fancy dinners, like all of that stuff. It's like, come on now.
That's one of the things that I don't do in coaching.
Yeah.
I am myself. And yeah, I have a Corvette, a BMW, and all those nice things, but do you see me saying
flaunting
this is who
it?
I am? I'm flaunting. Like, no,
yeah.
I don't. I want to be myself. And that's one of the things I help in my internship program for people that want to be a coach. And this is a good idea, or a good example. When I was telling Dad about, I'm going to do this internship program, and I'm going to show coaches everything that worked and didn't work for me so that they can learn from it. Because when I had a coach, I didn't know all the things that didn't work for her. She only showed me what worked for her, which was great, and she was a great coach. But after that, I feel like, okay, what happens if it doesn't work? Then what do I do?
Right.
So I'm giving the secret sauce to it all. I'm sharing everything. I'm giving you all of my materials. I'm showing you everything that I've spent hundreds and thousands of dollars, and I failed, and then what worked, what didn't work. And I'm still learning, failing, and learning. And I'm going to be honest with that. Like, there's no coach out there that has everything perfect.
Yeah.
There's just, it doesn't exist.
Some people like to make it seem like that, and that's like not shade to any, life coaches or anything like that, but it's so easy on social media that everyone's just posting their highlights and everything. It makes it seem as though they don't have problems, like they figured it out so much that they never have problems. And I think that it's beautiful that there are some people out there that are showing the good, bad, ugly, and indifferent and everything in between. And that's something that you're doing, which is amazing, because it's like, yes, like you said, you have these nice things, but that wasn't really the goal. It wasn't like a materialistic goal. It was, I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel aligned. I want my family to be in this position, and I want to feel this way, and I want to do these things. It wasn't like, I just want to do all these things because I want a car.
Right.
Like, then that makes the goal superficial.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes when we go for superficial things, it can kind of lead us out of alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it is working for us, at some point in time, our body needs sustenance our spirit, our soul needs sustenance at some point. And for you, that sustenance is helping people.
Yes.
So you were talking about, you talk about what worked for you and what didn't work for you. What do you do when something doesn't work for you? Do you just like stop doing it?
I learned from what didn't work for me and I move on.
But what do you do? Like, what do you do with it? Like,
I look at what, like,
do you just stop doing it?
Yeah, if it doesn't work for me, I look at what didn't work and then I move on. What I mean saying by move on is I stop doing that.
Right.
Yeah.
And I know what we've been talking about.
And sometimes, but
Yeah.
going back, if you start something and it doesn't work, audit it and say, okay, what didn't work about it and what can work about it.
Mm-hmm.
And if it still doesn't work, then it's just not aligned. Then you move on and find out something that will work for you. Right. Not everything that you touch, feel, focus on, and want to try works.
Yeah.
You learn from it and you move on to something else.
So let's talk about how do you identify when something truly isn't working and you need to move on, or you need to try something different to make it work? Like, how do you identify, like let's just say, for example, somebody's in a career, they're in a job, all of a sudden they start hating their job. They don't like it anymore. They're good at it, but they don't like it. How do they identify that, okay, this career isn't working for me anymore, or I need to tweak something within what I'm doing to make it work? Like, how do you identify, like, I need to trash it or I need to elevate it?
Well, those are two different questions. So let's try with the career.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're going into a career that you want to try, you have to try it and don't give up so easy. Because every career you go into, you're going to have challenges. Mm-hmm. And you have to push through those challenges and see if you're aligned with those challenges, and you got to give it time. You can't just go in, like for me, I started the mortgage industry. I started as a receptionist. Then I kept moving up. But as I was moving up, mm-hmm. and the minute I became a manager is when it really started, where it's like, oh shit, like this is hard. Because in the mortgage industry, mortgage, real estate, banking industry,
savage.
It's tough. You mm-hmm. have to have tough skin. And
they're
let me
mean.
Tell you, when I started, and when I started,
yeah, I
was just like, I trusted everyone. I was so nice to everyone. I'm still nice to everyone. But
this is true.
And you kind of go through it and say, okay, I've been knocked on my ass several times. I've been called names. I've been this, I've been that. Like, I would go and cry, go in my office and cry, go home, driving home crying and thinking, this is not for me. This is not
Who made my mom cry? Which one of you did it? I'm gonna beat you up.
But I looked at it and see, but you know what? If that person, I didn't resonate with that person, doesn't mean that this career is not for me. Mm-hmm. It means that I'm not aligned with that person. So what do I need to do to fix that? Don't take things personal, because I took things personal.
Yeah.
I felt that if someone told me I didn't do something right, that I failed, that I'm not good enough, that they're going to fire me. I looked at that and said, what did I just learn from that, and what can I do differently? And so that is what got me to continue to climb the ladder. And sometimes you have to fake it until you make it, mm-hmm. right? But Don't give up. And if you feel the excitement here that is something that you love, that means it's for you. Doesn't mean you're not going to run into challenges. But if you go into it and it was one challenge after another, after another, after another, then that is not the career for you. Same thing in a position. If you go into a position and you want to try it and then you get into it and you're like, I don't like that. I don't like
You don't
this.
like it?
I don't
Doesn't
want
feel
to be a
right.
processor. I don't want to constantly deal with, you know what it's like.
Yeah.
There's so many different things, and I'm only going to resonate to, in my career, but it doesn't even mean, banking, real estate, and all that. It's anything that you do. You want to be a nurse, you want to be a police officer, sheriff, you want to
Mm-hmm.
be a firefighter, you want to be a carpenter, whatever it is. Go with, sometimes you have to try a few things before you know that this is for you.
Yeah.
But you got to try it, right?
This is true.
It's like going into a relationship. If you're a boyfriend and girlfriend, you're trying out that relationship. What resonates, what doesn't? What are the red flags? What are the great things about it? So there's no different than in a career.
Well said.
You know
What's a story that you think that women need to stop telling themselves?
that you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're not pretty. Doesn't matter if you're small, medium, or large. Doesn't matter what you look like. Doesn't mean that you have to be this skinny girl with no flaws. You just have to love yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
when you love yourself, your energy, yourself, and the energy that comes off of your body makes such a magical life and a magic. Don't be hard on yourself. And I will say is, like I said earlier, do an audit on yourself. And no one out there says that you have to have this perfect look and this perfect body and this perfect career. You go by what it is you align with and that nobody else. Okay, like nobody else. So that is an advice that I would.
Let's say there's that girl on the other side of the camera over there that's saying all those things. I'm not worthy enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not smart
Who
enough. Like,
says? Who says?
yeah,
That's a limiting belief. That's a story that you're telling yourself. Who says? Right?
yeah, true.
So look at yourself like, who says? You know who says? You say. No one else. And who
Mm-hmm.
cares what other people say and think about you? As long as you're treating people good, that you're loving and caring, right? And that you don't have to be this mean, badass woman that has everything.
You can be a badass and still
You
be
can.
compassionate
Right.
and
Right.
kind and loving.
Right. I'm a badass and I'm
Yeah,
compassionate.
you're.
But I am that type of person. Like I had someone the other day, it was a potential client, and she goes, I need someone, she's going through a lot. She goes, I need someone that's going to hold me accountable, that's going to be mean to me, and blah, blah, blah. She goes, you sound too nice on the phone. And I said, well, that is a belief that you're telling yourself, but you don't know anything about me.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to know that accountability until you figure out what it is that I have to offer in my program.
Right.
Right. And that's just within 15 minutes of a conversation. Right. That right
Yeah.
there is a judgment.
Yeah.
Right.
And you know what? Not everyone aligns anyway. Some
No.
people really do need somebody that's like talking smack to them and like giving it to them between the eyes. Like you're
That's
very
okay.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you're very direct and but you're direct with
My own
compassion.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Some people need someone that's like a drill sergeant in their face, and that's not you, and that's fine. If somebody needs a drill sergeant in their face, they can go and get that somewhere. But, that's, what you have to offer is something powerful, impactful, but it's still compassionate. It's
I,
not soft, it's compassionate.
yeah. And that it
It's grace.
and I like how you said that is because it's like I can shut someone up with the way I deliver things,
Mhm.
right? That gives it to between the eyes, but I don't have to say mean things, calling you names and all that to get across what it is that I want to get across. Because
Yeah.
what happens when people do that? Brick wall. They're going to come right back at you with the same type of thing.
Right.
First of all, I'm not confrontational. And I'm not going to argue with someone back and forth. It's either you walk away or you keep going, and then the more you keep going, the more the words and things that you share that you really don't want to share, and then you walk away from that conversation how not accomplished. Don't waste your energy. I know for me, I'm not going to waste my energy on something that's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah. You said you're not confrontational, but that doesn't mean that you're a doormat either.
Correct.
You're not letting things slide, but you're also not going to argue with somebody that's obviously just going to only see something their way and you're just going to go back and forth and nothing's going to get
I don't
solved.
have time for that.
There's a difference
Yeah,
between being non-confrontational and being a doormat.
that's right.
Like you can get your point across without arguing, and no is a complete and whole sentence, or bringing up something that bothers you and then let them do what they want to do with it, not going back and forth and doing the he said she said drama
But
stuff.
sometimes people love that drama. They want to go back and forth because they want
Yeah,
to win.
they
Why?
just like to argue.
Right.
Weirdos. You're weird. It's like that commercial. Have you ever seen that commercial where it's like this lady, she goes to return something, and the lady behind the counter is like, okay, no problem, you can return it. And she's like, but I don't have my receipt. And she's like, no problem. She's like, I just want to come in here and argue with you. Can you just argue with me? And she's like, oh yeah, sure, okay. She's like, where's your receipt? I don't have one. And they just start arguing and she just wanted to argue. She's like, fine, here's your money back. And she's like, thanks. I really wanted this argument today. Like, people just like to argue. They just don't even want a solution. They just want to argue.
Yeah.
And those are the type of people you have to ignore.
Those are the people that they're creating their own miserable life. Great questions.
Thank you,
daughter.
Mother. Mother dearest.
Oh yeah.
Mommy dearest.
You want to tell that story?
No, you're not like that at all. I just like to tease you because I was a child that wanted whatever I wanted and I didn't like what I did. No more wire hangers. You weren't even remotely like that. I never even got spanked. I do think that I do firmly believe that this little flap underneath my arm is from that time that you pinched me in the car when I called you a psychopath.
Oh yeah.
I think my skin still hangs right there. Whenever I look at my arm, I'm like, it's because my mom pinched me.
You know what? I talked about that on my episode.
Did you really?
I talked about that on my episode on last Wednesday.
Yeah, now all these moms are going to be out there pinching their daughters.
No, I talked about how, like, toward the end of 7th grade and 8th grade, that's when I said it was about my breaking point. When you're at your breaking point was my episode. When you're at your breaking point, and I remember driving you to school, and you were having such an attitude, and I smacked you. And that is when I'm like, who is this girl? It's toward the end of the 7th grade and 8th grade. But yeah.
It was hormones.
Yeah.
Hormones. Yeah, clearly that was I'm glad I got to get you to your breaking point. Yes, you had a breakthrough.
I did.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You had a breakthrough.
Talk about it today.
Okay, a couple questions about you. What was the scariest leap you ever made and how did it change you?
Starting my own business.
It was scary.
It was scary. I didn't know what to expect. I felt like, what happens if this doesn't work? Am I going to be able to support my family? Was it a struggle? At the beginning, yes, it was. It was a struggle. But I had to be completely uncomfortable to get comfortable. And every time I'm helping a client is what really, really, I feel so blessed and thankful for what I'm doing, because I'm making a life and I'm helping that person. And I learn from every single client.
I love that. You have changed a lot. You have changed a lot over the years. I really do think that this career move, that this life change of starting your own business has brought about such good change for you and really showcased your assets and the things that you needed to work on as well. And I think that it's not going to get better, but you get better and better and better and better every time. That I'm just it's so admirable, and I admire you so much for never just being like, well, this is it, and nothing's ever going to change. It's always like, no, it's going to change because I have no other option. Like, you have that there is no other option mentality. This is either going to work because it's meant to work, or it's not going to work because I'm meant to pivot.
That's right.
Thank you. You're welcome. What mistakes, if any, did you? Obviously, we all make mistakes.
Yes.
Duh. But I mean, I'm just saying, you just have it all together so often. Even me as your daughter, it's like, I know parents don't want to share when they're going through stuff, especially with their young kids. But now that we're older and
Well,
we're
you went,
besties,
you know that I went through, mom and dad went through
a lot.
hell and back. I mean, we really did. And I think that
And
we shared that on social media. I think when we first got together, I didn't have a job, dad didn't have a job. And I lived at home. He lived at home. I was together with him for not even 6 months. We moved in together. And then dad got a job, I got a job. And it was like, okay, what do we do? We just keep going. And that's one thing is didn't argue, didn't fight. We had our disagreements, right?
mm-hmm.
Mom and dad are completely different. But as we
Yeah.
grew together, it's like we're the same. We're one. We see eye to eye. We laugh. It's we make the marriage and the life that we want to live, not asking for help and doing it ourselves. Have we made mistakes? Yes. Have we fallen? Yes. But we get back up. But overall, we've had a very beautiful life. And so, but we chose to live the way we live. We chose to be in a relationship that we were in. But there were some challenges. Um, so, have I made mistakes? Absolutely. But if I make a mistake, I learn from it.
Right. You just mentioned that you guys didn't ask for any help, and I know this to be true. But there were times when you did. There had to have been times where you did ask for help. Let's not financially, but like maybe you asked for a help to lean on, emotionally for a friend. Like you have, Aunt Pilar or a bestie that you did ask for help emotionally, or
Yes.
things like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how would you tell somebody? Because I know a lot of the times as women, we tend to not ask for help. Um, how did you just say like this is a moment where I really truly do need help, and how did you do that?
I always tend to run to your Aunt Pilar and even your Auntie G. I opened up to where I felt I needed to open up. But there's one thing that I learned as a coach. When I started my business,
Mm-hmm.
I hired a coach.
Right.
I spent a lot of money hiring a coach. And I knew I kind of felt like I would be in my own island. Like, how the hell am I going to do it? I don't have a a business book on to show you all the business, all the things that
Right.
you should be doing. Like I didn't know what to expect. But a coach or any coach in a business, a life coach, a business coach, any coach that you were looking to help improve yourself
Mm-hmm.
or in a situation is when you do that, they specialize in it and they're looking from the outside looking in,
Mm-hmm.
which they have no judgment. They don't know who you are. And what do you think is going to happen? They're going to give you the truth. They're going to give you what it is that they feel that you would resonate with. Does that make sense?
No, it totally makes sense. You need to have somebody that isn't going to be biased and just be like, you know,
Yeah.
like we talked about earlier, co-signing your bullshit because they want to be nice to you and they want to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
And then the opposite of, they have ill intentions. They don't want you to be better than them, So I think that's very important. Now you
It's
talked about you.
but it is important not to hold it all in. Don't hold it all in and say, oh, I don't want to share it with, I don't care if it's that one friend. Like you have to dump,
You have to share something.
share what it is that you've got to get it off your chest because you can't look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself all the challenges you're facing. You've got to be able to talk to somebody.
Mm-hmm.
There's even though I've been together with Dad for 37 years, we share everything, but I can't sit there and share every little thing and how I'm feeling to a certain extent. I got to be able to share it.
Well, that and the responses that you would get with certain things, and so you're like, I don't really want to hear that. So, and that's not to say like you don't share things, but like you can be selective on what you share with whom you share
That's right. And that is okay.
But you would agree like it's so important to share the things that are bothering you because that's where growth happens, right? Mm-hmm. When we're honest about where we're struggling and we have that outside perspective of a coach and somebody that you can trust that's that is where you want to be, and they're able to audit your life, audit what's going on. If you're not honest with your coach, you're not going to grow.
No. Right.
And speaking of coaches and how much you said you spent a ton of money, what's like a ballpark range on what you've spent from collectively self-help books, webinars, coaches? Like, let's just give a ballpark range, because I feel like there's a misconception. A lot of people think like, if
there is, there's people say, oh, I started a business with $20,000 or $10,000, or I started a business with zero money.
How much did you, a ballpark, how much have you spent on coaches and self-help and development?
Well, I will say that I grew into that. So I didn't
give me a number.
I'm going to walk away from corporate America and say, I helped myself while I was in corporate America. I'm a coach that is certified. I've read multiple books. I went to seminars.
Multiple is an understatement.
Like I've done it, but I didn't do all of that right when I started my coaching. So if I look at everything collectively, now again, this dollar amount doesn't mean you need this dollar amount to be a coach or start a coach.
No, but it takes investment.
It's investment in yourself. I would say overall, probably about $475, $450, over $400,000. Yeah.
You spent over $400,000
with coaches, programs, books, webinars, or seminars, not webinars, seminars, because webinars are mostly free. Seminars. When I started my business, the marketing, the people,
and I love that you shared that, though, because I feel like there's we live in a time right now where it's fast money, fast, like everything is fast success. And what you just said right now is that you've invested so much over so many years, and this investment is important. So when somebody's like, oh, your program's $3,000 a month, don't really want to invest that. Ma'am, sir, you need to invest in yourself. You need to invest in your goals and invest in what you want to do. It takes money to make money.
That's right. And one of my lowest package is $3,500. And that $3,500 is a 12-week session that you're being coached by me one-on-one for 60 minutes, 1 hour a week, compared to the money that I spent over the years. Now, that money that you invest in, it's an investment for yourself, your well-being, that you're going to learn from that, and that $3,500 you're going to make that 10 times that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I just think that it's so important, and I love that you shared that you spent all that money, because it shows, okay, you really do care about what you do.
Absolutely.
If you're willing to spend your hard-earned money on developing yourself to help other people, that speaks volumes of your character and of yourself, and how dedicated you are to helping other people. And not only that, but it just shows that people are learning from somebody that has spent so much time, money, energy into all of this knowledge and all of this development. And and you're continuing, like it's continuing education. So when somebody is like, oh, I don't really want to buy that couple $100 or couple $1,000 package, it's like, you don't understand what you have done to learn what you've learned, whether it's through life experiences, something that you've paid for, but like, you just need to invest. There's that investment that and what is it worth to you? What is it worth? What is it worth to you to spend that much money?
And make a difference in your life. Start a new chapter of your life. Just like in my coaching internship program. Like one of my clients that's in the coaching program, she's like, we need to increase this. Like what we're spending is like, oh, I mean, you know what it is. It's like,
you do.
So January 1st, we're increasing that.
You hear that? Yeah, as you should, because there's just so much that's in your program. It's like you just hit every little thing. Like nothing gets missed. Every every T is crossed, every I is dotted, like everything. It's not just like, here, be positive and do your affirmations and goodbye, your life's going to be great. Like, no, you hit the nitty gritty of everything, which is amazing. So just one last question, like what made you realize that you wanted to leave corporate America and you wanted to become a life coach? Like what gravitated you towards that?
I will tell you that I was really pushed to do this because the last company I was at, I helped grow their company. I really enjoyed working with the owners, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I think I told you that.
Yeah.
And I made a ton of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm going to start it. And then when we were going to move, I think, and when the company came in and there was another company that bought a percentage of them. Well, anyways, make the long story short, I was let go. I was laid off. I wasn't fired. I was laid off. And I think it's because we were going to move out of state. And they didn't like it, but they didn't tell me. But I also will tell you that I wasn't fulfilled. That was my breaking point where Dad said, all right, enough's enough. Let's start your business. And I did. And when I walked away from corporate America, yeah, we had a nice little savings. But guess what I did with all of that? I took all of that savings and poured it into and it's like starting all over again. But I wake up excited and feeling fulfilled and happy. And, there's times where it's like, oh my gosh, where am I going to get my next client or what have you? Because I'm a smaller coaching business. My business is small. I don't want to be huge.
Yeah.
And, but I love it. And because I love it, that's the energy I'm putting into it and the mindset. And so I'm here.
I love that.
And don't get me wrong. It's like I'm helping another, who she is. I'm helping another company and I'm working with them. But I'm working in a different aspect of, gosh, I am so compassionate about helping others. In my podcast, Empower with Nancy on Spotify and Apple, that is where I really pour into a lot of what I've learned into my podcast.
I love that. Yeah. And I know that this last, company that you were at before you started your business, this wasn't the first time that happened. No. It was really weird. It was like it had happened a couple of times. And I feel like, to me and my beliefs, that's God doing something for you that you wouldn't have otherwise done for yourself. Sometimes we are pushed out of certain places in our lives, and I'm a believer that that's, God making those changes. But of those hardships came something, came your coaching business. All of these hard things you've gone through made you, in the spot that you are in today, where you're helping people and you're finally fulfilled, and you're not just living in this career and this life that, yeah, you're freaking great at it, but you didn't love it. And I think that, what had happened and what had transpired with those companies really just pushed you to where you're supposed to be.
And I'm very grateful for that. And and sometimes that's the part where we say, why is this happening to me? You have to do that self-reflect because the answer is right there. Don't ignore the answer. You know the answer.
Yeah, don't ignore yourself and how you feel with something. Right. Yeah. I want to just keep talking and talking because I know even we talked about like a lot of like looking at yourself in the mirror and being honest with.
But we'll do part 2.
No, I know it's gonna be like
my podcast.
Part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 75. But this was great. Thank you for doing this interview with me, and I'm getting a lot of. There's just gold in all of this, so this was awesome.
Very grateful, and it's. I'm very happy and grateful that I'm able to do this and share this with you and helping me. And for most people that don't know me or my daughter is, we're both 2 different people.
We're the same person. That's why I'm a lot more rougher around the edges than my mom is, but we're the same person. I think that's why we just butt heads so much. I'm more rougher like Dad is, where I'm a little meaner. I'm a little mean, and we butted heads for so long. And my mom always used to tell me, I'm not one of your little friends. And look at you now, you're one of my little friends. You one of my little friends. You one of my little
peeps.
Yep. You're my little friend now.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
Me too.
This interview, and I
This
hope
cool.
that you all learned something from it. But this is who I am, and sometimes it's hard to be in camera and social media. Like, okay, because my daughter would say, "Mom, that is not you." Like, tell people who you are. So I'm going to have to share that right now. But it is. It's just this is who I am, and I don't portray someone that I'm not. And I really hope that everyone enjoys my podcast and everything that I share. And you can also reach me on empowerwithnancy.com. My podcast is Empower with Nancy. And
I love that. And I just want to put it, I know we keep saying we're done, and I just keep talking, but I really do want to say there's a lot of people out there, again, with social media that they just put on this smoke and mirrors, and it's not really who they truly are. Who they are online is somebody completely different than who they are in real life. And I just want to say, as a witness to, I've known my mom my entire life, obviously, but you really truly are Fancy Nancy. Like, I've only seen you in like shorts maybe 5 times in my whole life, and you really do, like, who you present yourself to be in public, having your hair done, your makeup done, the way that you talk, the way that you carry yourself, like, that is consistent through every area of your life. Like, you're not one person at home and another person at work and then another person with your friends. Like, you are the same person all the way around. And I think that's really, I never noticed that to be like, like, you just notice more when you get older, and growing up and living, you just see so many people have so many different masks for so many different people in their lives. There's so many different areas in their lives, and you're just consistently the same person. So classy, so kind, so compassionate, so driven, and you're always giving people the benefit of the doubt, and you're always, trying to help people and help everyone around you, and at the same time still helping yourself. And it's just, I just want to say that for the record, like, you are just, you're you. Like, you really are you. Like, this is who you really truly are. You've always been somebody. You're always helping somebody. You're always doing things for other people, and this is who you are. It's not a facade. It's not fake. It's not like she just gets ready like this for when we do cameras and pictures. It is Sunday. This is how she is every Sunday. Like, this is who you are. Monday, Tuesday, Monday to Sunday. This is you. This is not fake.
I do have some days that I'm sorry, my daughter's gonna make me cry, but I do have some days I just don't want. My granddaughter's just like you.
I don't know if Rayleigh will ever see that. I'm not even gonna say names. I'll edit that part out. But yeah, she is just like you. She told somebody recently, she's like, your toes are scaring me because they're not painted. And I was like, you are your grandmother's. You are Gammy's granddaughter. Thank God it was with somebody that, like, has known us forever, that I wasn't petrified that she said that. But yeah, this is who you are, and I love that you are consistent. You're always you. I love you.